Divorce happens. In fact, it happens to almost 50% of first marriages. So let's talk about it. Welcome to Divorce Happens, a podcast to educate, inspire, support, and yes, make you laugh through divorce and beyond so that you can start fresh on the next phase of your journey. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh.
You get divorced. You get divorced.
Getting divorced?
I'm getting a divorce.
You're getting a divorce.
Because she's getting a divorce.
So what if I get divorced?
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Divorce Happens, the podcast where we support you before, during, and after divorce with education, inspiration, and a little bit of laughter. Because as we know, divorce happens and then you start fresh. And we're here with a friend and a fresh starts expert, Terrie. Terrie, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. I'm Terrie Alfieri, and I am a family connection photographer and empowerment photographer located right here in New York.
Amazing. Well, I was so excited to get you on to talk about this in particular because I feel like we put so much emphasis on wedding photos and new baby photos, but then there's this whole part of like a person's life that comes maybe after a divorce or after a big life transition. And I want to talk about like empowerment photography and what it is and why it's so important. So what is this concept of like empowerment photography?
Yes, I love that so much because, first of all, it's similar to the registry. Like we have a wedding registry, we have a baby registry, but what else? What shouldn't we be celebrated for lots of other things in our lives that are not more important, but are important to us during these different chapters? But yes, for empowerment photography, I think a lot of times, I think it may have started when women were doing boudoir photography for themselves or for their partners. And it has evolved so much since then because there were so many other ways that you can empower yourself aside from just, not that there's anything wrong with it, but aside from just taking pictures in, lingerie. And of course, that's amazing and beautiful and empowering to see yourself like that. And you can certainly do that. But there are all these other areas of our lives to celebrate, especially after divorce when you're trying to reinvent yourself. And I'm happy that now, I will say nowadays it's starting, thanks to you and other people in this industry or in this realm, are trying to help people to realize that divorce is just a part of life and not this shameful period of your life. But it used to feel like this heavy burden of shame. And so many people, when they went through a divorce, it was like a sad time. Meanwhile, think about all the people you've talked to who are like, I feel the best I've ever felt in my life. It's like this huge weight lifted off my shoulders. But when you've seen yourself as one person and one identity for so long, it's like, well, then who am I? And what does it actually mean to be this person?
Yeah.
So that I think that's where this type of photography comes into play, because seeing yourself in a mirror is one thing, but seeing yourself through somebody else's eyes is a completely different experience.
It is. And I think that it was important that you brought up the boudoir photography because I did that before my wedding too. And I'm all for, lingerie pictures, underwear pictures, whatever you want. Whatever you want to do that's empowering, it's for you. However, I will say that, yes, but there's a lot of women, myself included, who after a divorce are not going to want to do that, right? So like it almost felt like there was no other option for a long time, right? It was like, well, you could go do this thing or you could just do family photos, but there was nothing really left for you to do. And so that's why I love this concept of empowerment photography. Can you talk a little bit about why it's so important to have not physical photos, because obviously they're digital, but have evidence, I guess, of who you really are during these times?
Right. Well, first of all, just having some type of memory of this time is so important because you are evolving and changing. And so much has changed from who you were when you were younger, or just, I think a lot of people see themselves with their partner as a unit and that's their whole identity. But Like, when they talk about when you get married that your two hearts become one or your two souls become
Mhm.
one. But really what it is that you are supposed to be still two individual people who are a union.
Right.
So when you go through that, it's like you now have to figure out, okay, what's your new identity and what does that mean? Um, and when you're in it, a lot of times you're going through so many changes that you don't really have time to pull back and reflect on who you are at
Mhm.
this time. And being able to slow down, pause, and have these photos taken, it gives you that opportunity to really embrace it and to see yourself. Because you
Yeah.
might not be able to see yourself when you're just looking in the mirror every day, or when someone says like, "Hey, you look great," or "You look vibrant," you have a glow to you. Um, you're not necessarily able to pause. You're like, "Oh, thanks, that's great." But when you're able to sit and look back and say, "Wow, okay, this is me. Like I really was vibrant. I really was glowing." So and it gives you that opportunity. And in addition, when someone else is photographing you as opposed to you just taking a selfie, they can see your essence and help
Mhm.
capture your essence.
I love that because so much of the rebuilding after divorce is building that confidence back up, and you need to have a basis for that, right? Like, you can't just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna build my confidence up," but, like, seeing pictures of yourself, seeing that evidence of, like, what somebody else sees in you is so important to snowball that confidence effect.
Yeah. And
Uh
you're also in your own head. So it's like
Right.
to get out of your own head. What was it like? Do you mind sharing, like, what was it like to have your photos taken after divorce? Like, what did that
Yeah.
feel like for
I was
you?
gonna say, like, I was actually gonna ask you, then my next question was gonna be, why is it so important to work with a photographer you're comfortable with? And out of full disclosure, we pulled Terrie into Fresh Starts because she is one of our photographers that we love and work with. And I've been working with, gosh, almost 3 years, right? We've been doing photos together.
Yeah.
And I will say, we did photos together when we launched Fresh Starts, and seeing the photos that you took of me really let me step into that CEO entrepreneur. Like I am doing this thing on my own, and that was huge. And I used those photos for everything. And that was a big piece of this is, when you are going through one fresh start, it begets other fresh starts, right?
Hmm.
So you might need photos for dating or for work or LinkedIn or whatever whatever it is you're doing. We've used your photos in press and media and television. We've used them all over the place. And you need that because you need to feel like somebody again. And so I just think if you could talk for a second. Well, I guess my point was that I felt so comfortable with you that you made me feel beautiful and strong, and or not made me, I guess that's not the word. You allowed for me to feel
You like
myself.
created space
Right.
for that, I think. Like we
Right.
have to hold the little two fingers together.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, we're creating space for that for you, which
Right.
a lot of people think like a photo shoot, you know, we're gonna have my pictures taken. Oh, we're gonna end up with a few
Right.
pictures that are your favorites. It's not really like that. It's so much deeper than that.
Right.
And I guess like being a deep person
Mhm.
is part of my personality. I have one speed. It's like, let's talk about your whole life story
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything that makes you who you are. But that kind of person, I feel like I was a
Right.
good fit for you in that
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
because that is because we connected on that level.
Right.
Whether you knew it or not at the
No,
time.
100%. And we've Jenny too, like we felt so comfortable. Obviously, Terry photographed Jenny's wedding in Scotland. But just like little simple things like, dancing and being ourselves and goofy and playing, like you captured that. And I think that that is why it's so important to work with a photographer like Terry, who we recommend to a lot of people, or anybody that you're comfortable with to capture that essence of you. I love that.
Yeah, because really it's not everyone isn't my client, right? I'm not for everyone.
Right.
Even though I have been able to adapt to so many different kinds of personalities, you're like it's the same thing. Like we go deep, but then we have fun. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really my area of expertise. But there are some people who aren't like that. And so you want to find somebody you really mesh with
Yeah.
who's going to be able to take you through that experience. But really, a huge part of my job is being intuitive to what each client needs. So when you are in front of the camera, it's like you get to just be yourself,
Right.
but I'm watching you through the motions. I might be
Right.
guiding you through the posing and things like that,
Right.
but I really just want to capture who you are.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people might not be comfortable with who they are yet. Like, this is a
Right.
new chapter for you. So
Right.
sometimes, I mean, look at also over the past 3 years how the pictures have changed,
Mm-hmm.
just in terms of like
Mm-hmm.
who you are and being yourself.
Yeah.
Has evolved, because I think you've gotten much more confident in
Right.
who you are
Right.
and who you are in this chapter of your life.
Totally. I love
And
that.
like, even just looking at like the different changes, like to how like you had like your haircut and like just like
Mm-hmm.
different things that speaks to like
Mm-hmm.
how you dress, or like
Yeah.
your moon ring that you got that
Mm-hmm.
was
Yeah.
like your gift to yourself.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like the photos are a gift to yourself, but the ring was a gift to yourself. You don't have to have a gift that's a ring from a man to feel
Yeah.
good in your own skin and
100%.
feel like worthy.
Yeah.
So now you get to feel worthy in your own skin as yourself, and watching you evolve has been a joy for me.
Oh, thank
But
you.
also it's beautiful to look back and look at
Mm-hmm.
who you were when you first started.
Yeah. 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 No, I appreciate that. And I think that that's the beauty of working with a photographer that you're comfortable with, that you want to be on this journey with you, right? So that being said, Terrie, where do you work if somebody's listening to this and they're like, oh, I need these photos taken?
Yes. So I'm in Long Island, New York, but I also travel tri-state area, and I have traveled all
Mm-hmm.
over the country and even to Scotland
Yeah.
for Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
But I love traveling and would love to help people to feel empowered in their own skin and take their photos wherever they are.
I love that so much. Well, all of Terrie's info will obviously be in the show notes, and you can get in touch with her over at Fresh Starts. Before we let you go, Terrie, if somebody is listening to this and they're going through a divorce, which they probably are because it's divorce happens, what would be some words of encouragement you could leave them with?
This is such a crucial turning point in your life, and it's really scary. And the unknown is really, really scary. But it is the beginning of something so beautiful for yourself in this next chapter. And when it comes to having your photos taken, you are beautiful. And I've seen so many women and men over the years, and they just judge every single part of themselves. And I think they have been hearing their spouse or their parents' voice in their head. You are beautiful just as you are. And this relationship and this chapter in your life doesn't define you.
I love that. I love that so much. Thank you so much for being here, Terrie, and for seeing people for who they are and their true essence and helping them on their journeys. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. This is the best.
Oh, thanks. Divorce Happens is produced by Fresh Starts Registry, the only divorce registry platform for everything you need to begin again, including home items, hype team, and everything in between. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh. We're here to support you before, during, and after divorce. Head to freshstartsregistry.com for more info.